Senator McCormick.
Congresswoman, it's good to see you again. My wife, Dean, and I have known you for, I think, more than 20 years, so I'm thrilled that President nominated you for this important role. Forgive my voice. I think I've been celebrating making America great again a little too much. As we discussed when we met in my office, I'm deeply troubled by the virulent anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bias at the United Nations. And since Hamas's brutal massacre on October 7th, the Jewish community in Pennsylvania and across our country has seen an explosion in hate. As you know, this is not theoretical for me and for Dina. We live in Squirrel Hill in Pittsburgh, where we had the Tree of Life tragedy, and a painful reminder of where that hate can lead. In Congress, you've done an incredible job of pushing back against anti-Semitism in our nation's institutions. You exposed the presidents of the three leading universities for their lack of moral clarity. And I was one of the first to call for the firing of the president of UPenn because of the tough questioning that you forced her and other presidents to leave office. I'm confident you can bring that same fire and effectiveness and leadership to the UN. And let me start by asking how you'll fight back against anti-Semitism and bias against Israel within the UN. Hamas terrorists have been operating with impunity from UNRWA facilities, and UNRWA employees even participated in the massacre on October 7th. So beyond funding, how will you work with our allies to end UNRWA's mandate and shift legitimate humanitarian functions to other UN organs or trusted NGOs?
Thank you so much, Senator McCormick, and thank you for your leadership combating anti-Semitism. I know it's important to the American people and it's important to Pennsylvanians, and something that I am deeply committed to doing in this role. It's one of the reasons why in my conversation with President Trump, I was interested in this position, because if you look at the anti-Semitic rot within the United Nations, there are more resolutions targeting Israel than any other country, any other crisis combined. And we have significant national Security Councils, the anti-Semitism, whether it's UN Women failing to condemn Hamas's terrorist attack and terrorist regime against innocent civilian women, using rape and targeting women, specifically taking them hostage. I am overjoyed that those 3 young women hostages were returned home. We need to stay committed to ensuring every hostage is brought home. I've met with many hostage families. This position, we need to be a voice of moral clarity on the UN Security Council and at the United Nations at large, for the world to hear the importance of standing with Israel. And I intend to do that. This year will mark the 50th year since the disgraceful Zionism is Racism resolution at the United Nations. And at the time, our U.S. Ambassador, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, spoke out strongly against that disgraceful resolution. That is the type of leadership that I hope to bring, if confirmed, to the United Nations. And President Trump has a tremendous record when it comes to standing with Israel, whether it's the Abraham Accords, whether it's his commitment to combating anti-Semitism, or recognizing Jerusalem as the eternal capital of Israel. This is a strong, strong record, and I hope to do that at the UN if confirmed.
Thank you. As is already noted, the Chinese Communist Party has a deliberate strategy to use the UN Human Rights Council and other parts of the UN system to propagate its false narrative on human rights and legitimize its authoritarian agenda. How will you push back on the CCP's attempts to co-opt international institutions like the UN to undermine U.S. interest?
Thank you. As you can see, there's quite a theme here, with many senators raising this deep concern about CCP's inroads and China's inroads broadly in international organizations. I think it goes back to working with our partners and allies, making sure that we are strengthening those relationships, that we are ensuring that we have a strategy to ensure that the CCP is not able to make inroads at the most senior levels of these technical organizations and of agencies across the UN writ large. This was another of my top priorities that I expressed in each and every meeting with all of the senators from both sides of the aisle.
Thank you, and I'll try to squeeze in one last question. I was so glad that President Trump withdrew from the UN climate accords last night. How will you advocate for American energy dominance and an all of the above approach to energy security at the UN?
again, I want to make sure that we're representing American values, American interest. I am the United States ambassador, if confirmed, to the United Nations, and that means supporting strong American energy dominance and not giving a free pass to the biggest polluters like China in the world. When we have the cleanest water, the cleanest air, and the best record when it comes to an all-of-the-above energy approach, moving back to the successful policies of President Trump in his first term, when not only was America energy independent, we were energy dominant. So that is my commitment.
Thank you.
Thank you.